Hello again. Nice to see all of you. Today I'm going to talk about a topic that I'm really passionate about, and that's called letting your teenager have a vintage Mercedes. So there are a lot of you out there that were raised with the idea that vintage Mercedes like the 123, 126, 116 series diesels are really safe cars and they're great for teenagers. And in a way this is true, and in a way it's not true. So in the next 5 minutes we're going to talk about what kind of teenagers they're actually good for, what kind of teenagers they're not good for. First of all, your Mercedes or a classic Mercedes is a good fit for a teenager if the teenager has time invested in the car, is diligent about checking fluids, doing maintenance, servicing the car when it needs to be serviced, and learning about the car. Now this may sound like a tall order, but 50 years ago this is what people actually had to do with their cars when they were teenagers. They actually had to learn about them and take care of them themselves. So I don't think it's unreasonable to say, hey son, hey daughter, you need to learn how to do a valve adjustment. Now these cars are not good for teenagers or young people if your young person has a cell phone addiction and they can't put the phone down when they're driving. People need to learn to drive effectively without electronic devices before they pick them up and start using GPS or voice to text or anything like that. Also, if your son or daughter has no idea what goes on under the hood of a car, doesn't like to check oil or fluids, tailgates too closely, then that would be a bad idea. They will probably wreck the car, and then you're out of car and you're probably going to have to pay the other person's bills too when your son, daughter hits them. Now, when it comes to the topic of should I buy my teenager a Mercedes, the best advice I can give is, first of all, let them actually learn to drive on another car, a boring car. For example, I learned to drive on a 1990 Plymouth Grand Voyager. I couldn't think of a less exciting, more practical vehicle to learn how to drive on. After that, I got my 74 240D and started using it all the time. Second of all, if your son or daughter is automotively illiterate and they just can't be trained, then it might be a good idea to get them a newer Mercedes, at least a 124 E-Class, probably a 210 or a 211 E-Class, which is bristling with safety features that will actually keep them from harming themselves. If later on they decide they really like Mercedes, then it might be a good idea to get them an older one, but only after they've shown that they can take care of the later car. I like these later cars because you can buy them for $5,000 or $6,000. They're bristling with safety technology. You can get them serviced anywhere. When they do break down, they cost an arm and a leg, which will teach your teenager that if they're going to want to have a nice car, they need to save for it. And then finally, there are certain driver aids to keep them more effective. So if you have more questions about what kind of car to get for a young person or what kind of car you think would be a good fit, send them to us. We'd love to hear from you. Please subscribe to our videos, and thank you all for watching. Have a great day.